Hi there, this is Joe from SquareXO, and I'm joined by Lloyd.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about Fire Pro Wrestling, but before we do, just remember to check out our website at squarexo.co.uk, follow us at twitter.com/square_xo, and on patreon.com/squarexo. We're also on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify, and you can watch things like this review chat on youtube.com/johansonwater, the podcasts on all those other things that I just mentioned. Okay, let's just get on with it. Right, Fire Pro Wrestling. It's quite a good game actually. It's not really what I would expect to be a £40 game.
That's my whole issue with Fire Pro Wrestling is not anything about the game itself. I think it's just the asking price is very high for the amount of content there, and given the visual style and that kind of thing, I think that's going to put a lot of people off.
Yeah, I think if it hits you in the face, if somebody just goes, "Oh, here's the game," and you just sort of saw it on face value, you would think to yourself, "Well, that's an indie game. It's got to be worth about 15 quid at the most."
It's weird because the Fire Pro license goes back decades. It's a really old franchise. I mean, I played it on the Game Boy Advance, growing up, and absolutely loved it. So when I found out there was a new one coming, I thought, oh yeah, fantastic. When I found out about the price point, I really worried for it because I think if it doesn't sell, they'll assume it's because of the quality of the game, which couldn't be further from the truth, as you said yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Joe. Are you massively into wrestling at all? Or?
I'm not a massive wrestling fan. What I would say, I mean, we kind of started in a negative there, just saying, it didn't seem like a 40 quid game, but it's actually a brilliant game. It's excellent.
As someone who I play the WWE 2K games like every year, and they're all a bit stale. It's just like the same each year in, year out, slight roster changes, and there's no real kind of excitement in that franchise anymore. And then jumping into Fire Pro, within like 10 minutes, it was like, it feels like, it feels like going back to like the wrestling game heyday of No Mercy on the N64, and it was like, oh my goodness, like I've landed. This is like my dream game. And and I fell in love with it. I mean, I love the art style. I think it's so simple to look at, but it hides a lot of complexity because you have things like, you have stamina bars and that kind of thing, but they're not on screen. It's all based on your character's animation, that kind of thing. And it's just really like clever little touches, like if you're in a submission, you know when you used to play games, you used to just hammer buttons when things weren't going your way. That's what you have to do to get out of a submission, and you find yourself hitting all the buttons, and you're like,
yeah, don't
tap up. It's just that real sort of like, it's like being a kid and going back to like the glory days of, like, as I say, like the N64 No Mercy game and the old WrestleMania games, and playing those in front of a telly, like really close to the telly, and it really pulled me in with that. And as I said, there's just a lot of depth there as well. I think there's a lot of complexity that is underneath the surface. And but yeah, how much did you do the campaign at all, like the fighting road mode?
Oh no, I never tried the campaign. I was having too much fun just playing in the co-op and stuff. We were playing co-op and doing the cage matches, and I love how there's all different matches that you can play. That's brilliant.
There's like landmine matches and everything, isn't there? It's
and
just
you can
crazy.
figure out how to do new things. Like, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, to be honest, because you don't really, it just kind of throws you in and goes, there you go. So it took me a while to figure out I'm able to climb the ropes and go out the ring. And
then it turned out that you can jump off the ropes, obviously, but you can also jump when you're halfway up, and you get a different moveset if you jump when you're halfway up to when you're all the way up. And it was just like, it was all these little things to learn, but you're right, it doesn't really, when you go to the control menu, it's got about 6 button prompts, and it just tells you like the loosest definition of what each one does. And so you just sort of think, I'll just jump in, I'll see how it goes. But honestly, I absolutely loved it.
I was getting my ass kicked with everybody though, like my daughter and my son. They're really little, they're beating me up, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
And also reversals seem a little bit fiddly. So when you can't really counter, a lot of your counters are automatic because you can only use stronger moves as the match goes on. So there's kind of like a building your attack kind of thing going on. So you start off with your basic punches and kicks, then you want your soft medium throws, and then it sort of gets bigger from there. But if you try to do, say, like a finishing move too early, it will automatically counter and stuff. And so that kind of threw me off because I was used to pressing like a button at the exact time that I needed to press a button, sort of thing. So learning that was a bit tricky. That was a massive difference to the sort of the THQ, well, not THQ anymore, but the 2K wrestling games.
Yeah, because I've played those wrestling games in the past, and I thought they were a bit boring, really.
Yeah, they're all a bit stale.
This could be further for that. It's just kind of, I guess if you could bottle TV wrestling and put it in a game, this would be it. Really, I guess that's the best way of putting it.
As you said, you just kind of like, you press a few buttons and you end up doing these moves that just look incredible, and you have no idea how you pulled it off. But you can just jump in, and in that way, it's similar to something like, I don't know, like a bit more like a Tekken. With Tekken, you can jump in, just hammer buttons. A skill-based player will always beat you, but if you just want to jump in and have a good time, you can just press buttons left, right, and centre, and you know, you'll make it look like you know what you're doing. Yeah. And that's where this is, I would say, is sort of comparable to that. It's just kind of like you can jump in for 10, 15 minutes, have a great time, and then jump out again and jump in, you know. The campaign mode, actually, I really enjoyed. But it is so long. There is so much content there, and in between matches you get like a visual novel style of things. So you like pick your conversation choices. It's hard to tell whether that diverts you off on different paths. I haven't really sort of started again. I haven't finished it the first time to be able to start again. But there's so much there, and it pays a lot of respect to wrestling as I don't know, not so much a sport, but as a form of entertainment, which
it's gotten
is the best way of portraying it in my mind.
I would know what I was going to say there. I forgot the word I was going to say, but as a sort of obstacle, a sort of that's not the word I'm looking for. Spectacle. Obstacle. Spectacle.
And it's got all these bright colours, and they've all got really bright costumes and that, and it feels like it was ripped straight from the 80s, like the aesthetic, and I love that. That was wrestling's heyday.
It's
for most
pretty
people.
Cool how you can sort of customise everything as well. We made our own Square XO ring, and you can. I made this wrestler with green hair and blue pants and stuff.
Because creating a wrestler is obviously like a really kind of common part of that whole gaming genre. That is bringing yourself into the game and allowing you to do crazy things. But the customization in this is just next level. And as I sent you a screenshot, I believe, or a link to it, I found a YouTube video where all of a sudden the Square XO wrestling ring was just there.
That is pretty cool.
The sort of storefront bit, because you just go on the web browser, find what you want, and they've got everything on there already. And the game's not technically released until, is it the end of this week? And obviously it's been available in Japan, I believe. So you've got a lot of Japanese pro wrestlers. There's a lot of cage fighters are in the game as well. And then obviously they've got things like the Square XO ring, and it's just the amount of depth in the customization suite. And I know in the PC version, I'm sure you can put MP3s as your entrance music as well. I couldn't say whether I've tried that or not.
That's pretty awesome.
I think that might be a little bit trickier. But it's just incredible. And what's amazing is it's all these little sort of sprites, isn't it? They're all sort of small characters with like big puffed out chests, big arms. But the amount of detail you can get into each one of those little sprites, you can look at it and instantly go, that's me. That's the guy I created. That's, you can import someone's created The Rock, someone's created Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it's just like, you can instantly tell it's them.
It's good. It's good.
It just really caught me off guard, the amount of depth.
Can't remember what I called my wrestler, Jim or something, with the green hair and the blue pants. He's still rubbish though.
See, that's the thing. When you play through the career mode, you not only level up your attributes, sort of like RPG style, but you also unlock new moves. Because as I was going through it, I was thinking, these moves are a bit boring, and I felt like, is it going to be one of those games where there's just not a lot of moves to choose from because the limited animations, presumably, that you can do in that sort of not sprites, but that kind of art style. And then I started unlocking more and more and more. And you're looking at some of these moves where you hold an opponent upside down for what feels like 20 seconds before you drop them on the head, and it just really snowballs. The more you put into it, the more you get out.
I really need to be playing the campaign mode. I got distracted just by playing in co-op and stuff, and this is great. I didn't venture online because I thought I'll definitely get beat. I thought I need to get better first before I attempt to do that. I haven't tried online yet. I'm going to try that before obviously I do the review, because I'd like to see what the connection's like and that kind of thing. What I will say is though, I don't know if are you playing on PS4 Pro? Yeah, I just found it so fluid. No drop frames, and it feels like 60 FPS. Hard to tell for definite. I couldn't find anything to confirm that. And I don't know if that's a pro-only thing, but it looks and plays just wonderfully. It really does play like a throwback to those glory days. And honestly, I can see myself playing it constantly for the rest of the year. I really can. It's really fun. It's definitely one I'll be getting in and out of quite a lot. Obviously, we won't give away your score now, but you will be able to read Lloyd's review on the website probably after this video goes live. But yeah, check it out, because I don't think it's out in Europe till September. I believe it's out in the US.
I think it's actually, the trouble is with Europe, I think it shares a release date with FIFA. So I think that might be, I think it's around that same sort of time. So I think a lot of people will overlook it based on that, and based on, as we said, the price point being pretty high for you know, the kind of game it is.
What it is. Yeah, but you can get it from the US store. We've been reviewing on a US code, I believe, because we never had the European code. But a review will come out. We've both played it. We've both had a lot of fun, but best signs of things. I've just been kind of, Lloyd's been more in depth because he's writing a review, so he's been playing all the different modes. I've just kind of been stuck on co-op and having good fun with that, to be honest. But yeah, it sounds like we both really enjoyed it anyway. It is cracking. I've just been messing about a lot, just customizing rings and stuff. That's what I enjoy.
I think it's always a good sign as well, where just talking with you about it now, I kind of want to get back and play it some more.
It's kind of, I'm feeling it's got,
I think that just speaks volumes, doesn't it? So
yeah, it does. Okay, maybe we'll go play it then. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Don't forget to check out all the places I mentioned before, the website, Twitter, Patreon, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for now. Bye.
Bye.